What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the next video in learning PHP object oriented programming. My name is QDS Danny and you guys watching my channel Croywood. Alright, so at the first video when we start the inheritance, and I said that in C++ we can inherit in multiple classes. Say for example C++ supports multiple class inheritance. Say for example, as I said, we have a class father, and if we have a class mother, then we have a class child gonna come and inherit from the class father and mother. But Java and PHP can only inherit from one class. Alright, so that's a problem. Then what happens if we have a complex problem? Say for example, we want two classes that work simultaneously, and we have another class that needed two classes instead of one class. We have a base class and we have a drive class, and we have inherited very successfully and easily. What happens if you need, it's not by choice, if you need two classes. Say for example, in a customer restaurant, for example, in a restaurant there is a cashier and there is a, for example, billing. So what if you needed two classes for the customer bill and a cashier? So cashier, that one who prints who's making the calculations, for example, our accountant who's doing plus and minus to the customer's bill, and you need a customer's bill, for example, because they are tools are related. What happens if the customers needs the bill? Welcome to the trait. Trait in PHP works exactly the same, because PHP programmers before PHP 5.5 had a very hard time implementing this multiple class. But with the PHP 5.4 and 5.5, PHP introduced this trait. So instead of, you said, look, we can do this, inherit from the father and mother, why not you put a trait father and trait mother? And inside the child class, say for example, we can come here and put a trait father, for example, and we put a trait mother, and it comes to class, for example, child. You come and use father and mother. So we can use as a, here with the use keyword. So now we can go and say for example, inherit from this from the class father and class mother. But the only problem is, because this is not a class, you cannot instantiate, because there is no word class. Can you guys see class? I can't see, because it's not a class. It means you cannot instantiate this one. The PHP is not going to allow you this one. The only time you can instantiate something which is a class object. But this trait is not something that PHP is going to come, and the compiler is going to come and say, look, I think you are object and I'm going to instantiate you. No, you cannot instantiate. Say for example, if you put a trait and if you try to instantiate like this, then you're going to get an error. Say for example, if you put a base class and you treat it as a trait, then you're going to have an error. You cannot do that. Okay, so we're going to copy everything, because this is related to inheritance, and we're going to print here. So that's how the trait works. And keep in mind, I'm going to close this one because that one's okay. So the trait, you cannot instantiate it, and you can use it for multiple inheritance. Say for example, we have a trait cashier, for example. So we have a trait cashier. So what's the cashier's job? Cashier's job, say for example, make a bill. Say for example, we're gonna, for the function of the cashier, we put a method. We're gonna put a, say, calculation, and we make add, for example, addition. We put addition because the calculator do addition and subtraction, for example, because the customer's bill either gets addition or it gets subtraction. Okay, in the case of addition, you need a two number. We can put and say num1 our x and y, or and num2, and we're gonna return. We put a return num1 and num1, and we're gonna put a num2. All right, so same as subtraction, we need the two numbers, so we put a num1 and num1, and we put a num2. And the subtraction, because if you have say for example 2 minus 2, say 2 minus 2, you need to return something, so you need to put a return. We put a num1, say num2, and this is going to be plus because we are returning the plus. Okay, so we have two methods, and we have our methods going to do num. They're going to put this side left side, and they're going to right number. They're going to this is going to perform addition to the customer's bill. And the second function, which is going to be subtraction, they're going to num1 and num2, we're going to do minus, because that's a subtraction. Okay, so we are not going to go on the GST, how you're going to take out the GST. And I don't want to confuse you with GST and things like that, but I'm going to go on the simple ones. And now we're going to put a trade, customer bill, for example. All right, so now the customer bill. So what happens on the customer's bill? We do some sort of operations. And what sort of operations? We're going to do numeric operations on the bill, because the customer bill can do, for example, addition and subtraction. And now we're going to come here and put some sort of array, and we put a private because we don't want to tell anyone about our formula. We do numeric operation, and we set this one as a array because we might do one, or we might do a lot of operations. Now we're gonna do our addition, so we put a function, we put addition. So that's our method for addition, and we need to put some sort of parameter here, because this function is gonna be, we're gonna use something called in PHP array push, and that one's we're gonna put a dine, for example, because the customer is gonna come here in dining. So I'm gonna put this one here, and I'm gonna put array push. Array, we're gonna put a push. You're gonna look here, array push. Now what's array? And the first ones we're gonna put array. We put a this, then we put a numeric operations, then we put a numeric operation. That's gonna be our array, and the second one's gonna be the dime. That's a variable, because we're gonna use the variable. All right, so that's the second trait is done, and now we've done our addition, and we're gonna put a function. We put a get customer bill, customer for example bill. So the first function here, the first trait is we're gonna do it for cashier, our accountant. This is gonna do num1 and num2, because the first one, if you perform the operations of plus, minus, or multiplication, as we've done it in our functions, you guys should be know by now the return. If you guys don't know these things, how we perform the parameters here and how we return, you guys go and watch my another videos that about the PHP functions. And here we have another trait. Think of this one as in C++ as a classes, like a class father, and we have a class mother. Think of this as like this, but in this case this is a class, and because we can instantiate this one through the class child, but in this case we can't do that. And this is called horizontal inheritance. So usually a lot of folks in PHP called horizontal inheritance. because a customer bill consists of two. The first thing is that the cashier is there and performs some sort of operations of multiplication and subtraction, our addition and subtraction. And the second one is the customer bill, because the cashier makes the customer bill. Okay, so now the second one's done, we're gonna get the customer bill. And how we're gonna get the customer bill? We put a return, and we're gonna return this. Keep in mind we're using this, and this we normally use it inside the class. So we use this, if you remember that. Then we use numeric operation. We use numeric operation. Okay, so looks like there's a problem here. Okay, so now we have used the two trades. Think of this as a class. Now we're gonna come to actual class. So we're gonna use a class restaurant. So we used the two trades, and we trade cashier and we trade customer bill. So we're gonna use cashier, and what's the next one? We're gonna put a customer's bill. So now we, as I said to you guys before, we can use a customer bill. So I'm gonna put a customer bill. That's how we do the multiple inheritances in PHP. In C++, we use class father and we do class mother, and over here we just add few lines here. Here we put a public father and public mother, but in PHP is different. So if you guys bump up to this sort of problem, say for example if you have a class accountant, or you guys need to perform some sort of operation, and we put a class customer bill, our customer stuff, whatever you guys call it, then you guys need to do this way. You guys need to use a trade, and when you use trade inside the class, just use keyword. When you use this, then you can use your trades here. So we use cashier, which is our trade on top, and the customer bill. So here we have a cashier, which has two methods. Whichever you guys want to use, you can use it now. But if you don't use the keyword use, you cannot use the, say for example, cashier. And whichever you guys want, if say for example you guys want the cashier, you guys want to use this one, this method here, this exactly same methods, we're gonna copy from here, and we're gonna bring it here. We're gonna put it here. So here we have we are using the addition function, which we have exactly the same one here in trade. And now everything is ready. We need to instantiate, but as I said, because there's no keyword class here, you cannot instantiate this one. We can there's no keyword, but the only ones we can instantiate is the class. And here we can use keyword for the trade cashier and customer bill. Okay, so now we're gonna come and we put a, say for example, restaurant, our coffee shop, and we're gonna instantiate the restaurant, and through the restaurant we're gonna go to the addition, for example, addition. And what we're gonna addition, say for example, if the customer has for example drink $10 or say $30 and $50, say for example $60 bill, then we can echo and we can say your bill for today's food is, and we can put a dollar as well here. So whatever we put it here, now we're gonna come in the restaurant and we do addition. So if the customer has a $30 of buffet or $60 whatever, wine whatever, then we can put it here. So now we're going to go and check our program, and we're going to see the trade here and say your bill for today's food is $90, because we are performing the addition which we have it here in our cashier. So that's how the trade works in multiple classes in PHP. If you have two class, because as I said, the PHP is not going to support the multiple class inheritance, and Java is going to be the same. And the only way which we can inherit from the multiple classes is by the use of trait. Keep in mind, we can use trait, and we can use a customer, cashier, whatever. You guys can think of a lot of other examples which I'm going to discuss again in the future videos. We're going to go through this one again, and here we have then we're going to create a class restaurant, and we can use our function here again, our method here. So you can use this one. There is a lot of very good examples for this one, but because we don't PHP, we are not going to use this one in the word class. And keep in mind, PHP is written inside the C and C++, so it follows the same C++ compiler, whatever the execution. Then because there is no class, then you guys can instantiate this trait. And so PHP has found a way for to replace these guys here from C++. So in C++, how easy is that in C++, but that's C++, that's not a PHP, because we are learning PHP. We have a class father and mother, and the class child comes and inherits from the multiple classes. But that's how in PHP we're going to do it, because you guys can create a father and mother if you guys want. I'm going to create another one, father and mother, and here we're going to inherit from the class two classes. But make sure you guys use this one, use the keyword use. And we're going to here, for example, we use addition, and that's how we're going to perform this one. The only time we're going to instantiate is this class, because we can use the trait in here. When you guys are going to see use, it means that we are using the, say for example, customers here, for example, the trait here. So that's how we're gonna do this one, and that was our result. And you can use the same one as multiplication, and you can for example use but provided you guys needs to bring your multiplication here. That was the addition, and you can use your multiplication. You can bring your multiplication here, and you can use it. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe my channel Coraywood. If you guys have any question or comment, leave in the comment box. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video, and bye.